And welcome to Cigar Nerds Podcast. I'm your host, Smokin' Joe.
I'm Brad Jackson.
He's back!
It's the man behind the mask.
Yeah. Oh, I listened to that song like way too much. Like, just fell down a Alice Cooper rabbit hole and just listening to fucking...
Dude, I remember buying a CD one time that was
the best part of that movie is just the soundtrack.
It was like Halloween Favorites or something. It was like $5 and it had like 20 songs. But dude, it was all killer, you know. Man Behind the Mask, Lumberjack, like just
Lumberjack. Yes. Oh. Do you remember that we were already off topic, the Tales from the Crypt Christmas album?
Yeah. I go through our YouTube playlist occasionally to remember old times when we were creative like that. It's like, yeah, we're going to do a theme for this.
Well, I'm smoking the Los Six Provincias ORT from Espinosa Cigars. That's the word I was looking for. This guy has a Ecuadorian Habano wrapper over Nicaraguan binders and fillers, and named for the 6, I guess, original provinces of Cuba.
I was wondering where the 6 came from.
Yeah, so far it's kind of a little. I want to say fruity without being like tasting like a flavored cigar. It's got like a little bit of a dried fruit sweetness to it with a little bit of pepper, little sweet and spicy.
That sounds delicious, actually. I would know if I had bought one. But I was so worried I was going to get buried in traffic that I was like, no, I'm just going to keep driving. And I got to my destination early.
Wow.
So not only did I make it, I made it early. Let everyone
let the record show.
Yes.
Well, this week we're talking about the big man and
an even bigger man.
Yeah. So now we're going to be talking about season 3 of Reacher. They finally found a dude big enough to like kick his ass. So yeah, we're going to get into that here in a minute. But if you've got to fight off gun dealing psychopaths, you should call in the Strike Force, because you definitely need a Strike Force to fight that one motherfucker. StrikeForceEnergy.com. Use your promo code Cigar Nerds for 20% off your order. Comes in a little tiny tin pouch that, you know, if you get thrown off a boat, you can just stick them in your pockets.
I mean, you're in the water. You can just mix it in the water.
Just take a big gulp in your mouth. Just, you know, shoot that straight in the...
And tell us again how you got this stomach bug.
I mix seawater in my Strike Force.
Now with natural salts.
I mean, salt's supposed to be good for hydration, isn't it? You know, they tell you take some salt tablets or whatnot.
Gotta have some sodium. Like, I love pickles. That's always a thing for me in summertime. Like, I eat my little packet of tuna and throw down some pickles and keep moving.
Well, with that, cigars going. We're gonna go have some pickles, and then we'll come back with the main show. And welcome back. It's time to reach for Reacher again.
Unless you're that big, tall motherfucker, then you really don't have to reach.
Yeah. So, like, you know, of course, all these are they're kind of doing what, you know, Jack Carr's been doing with the Terminal. Like, each season is a different book in the Lee Child Reacher series, which this one I believe is based on the Persuader storyline.
That would be correct.
And I like too, all these are kind of like, if you've not watched any of the Reachers, is like each one of these seasons is almost like a standalone adventure. Like, you can kind of jump in anywhere, and it doesn't rely too much on back history. Like, we get enough, like, you know, flashbacks in each season to kind of explain a little bit of the Reacher's backstory, but it's like, yeah, if you've not watched season 1 and 2, you definitely should go do that. But if you want to jump in straight on season 3. These things kind of each season's kind of a standalone adventure.
Yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of, hey, who is that? There are some recurring characters, but yeah, to your point, I feel like this is one of those. It's just like, it's great action, and even for folks that have read the book, our books plural, there's enough variation and differences and changes that it's not just a complete retelling of the same story.
Yeah, how many fucking Reacher books are there?
Let's see here.
Let me click on this Wikipedia link, and 29 books and a short story collection as of October 2024. So yeah, we could have a lot of Reacher seasons if this keeps going.
I don't know. I mean, to me, the series has been great. I mean, to your point, like, I'm surprised we haven't jumped into this book series as much as, we're all the time recommending, stuff back and forth to each other. And it's like, but then again, I'm like, dude, that's 29 books.
Yeah. I made it through all
and I'm sure they're not all short stories.
No, probably not. So yeah, I need to re-up my Audible subscription because I don't know if I could sit down and read 29 books, but I could probably listen to them. That's why I got to find good books that are like just starting off. So I'm like, all right, I don't feel like there's that much I've got a backlog I got to get through. I can kind of start at the beginning with everyone else.
Yeah, for sure. Because
it's like getting into Doctor Who, and then there's like, oh, how many seasons of this?
Well, no, that's been my problem trying to get into the Star Wars books and everything. Like the few I've listened to and things like that, but there's so much out there that it's like, well, what do you want from your experience? And it's like, I don't know. I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, and if you just kind of start with like the post Disney stuff, like, all right, I'm not gonna listen to all the Legends stuff. I'll just start with like the newer stuff, so there's less of those.
Yeah, but it's always the Legends. I'm an old fuck now, so it's the old stuff that still gets brought up in my friend circles and things, and I'm like,
Yeah, I gotta say, as someone who has read both, like the pre-Disney books were way better stories, with the exception of the new Thrawn series has been good, but like all the other Star Wars books I've read since the Disney transition, I'm just like, meh.
Yeah, and I have enjoyed the Thrawn series. That's the one you were like, hey, we're gonna interview this guy. Like, you should probably know his material. That only makes sense.
Yeah, that's the only one that I'm like, all right, yeah, that that's some good shit. But the rest of it is all like, whatever. I'll stick to my old books. Yeah, so if you're not familiar with Reacher at this point, he's a former United States Army military police special investigator who, now that he's retired, basically is Kane from Kung Fu. He just travels from town to town getting in adventures.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to get into his adventures, though.
Yeah, this dude's like a shit magnet. It's like, whatever town I go to, it's like something bad's going to happen, and I'm going to get wrapped up in a fucking conspiracy.
But at the same time, like, it makes for great television.
That's one thing I kind of liked about this season, too, is it kind of went back to, like, the first series, it's very much like a solo adventure. He wanders into this town and finds out his brother's been murdered, and then has to, like, solve it, which turns out it's all wrapped up in a big conspiracy. But it's really just him and then a couple of the local cops he befriends along the way.
Yeah.
Where the second series, we got to see, like, someone's hunting the members of his former team. So it's like, it's more of a group adventure, where this one is kind of back to, like, he's kind of on his own for a lot of it. He's helping a DEA agent try to bring down a smuggling op, but for the most part, he's like, stuck undercover on his own.
Yeah, well, and I gotta say, like, just from entertainment and enjoyability, I enjoyed season 3 considerably more than what I did season 2. I think for me there was a lot of twists and turns, and like you think you have stuff figured out, and then you find out that no, this didn't all just happen by chance. Which is what I really like about Reacher's character. Like, not only does he have the physical strengths and, just an absolute badass, but he's smart as hell.
His brain is just as smart
so
as...
ingenuity,
Just, it's kind of like, he's like a fucking Sherlock Holmes that, benches. Because he sees those, like, as he says, details matter.
No, he doesn't bench press. He already said that. That don't mean shit. What you gotta do is you gotta arm wrestle.
Yeah. Homeboy fell for the old school Chinese arm wrestling. I'm like, I know this trick. I've seen this. You probably can't call it Chinese arm wrestling anymore. That's probably not politically correct, but that's what we called it back in elementary school when you would trick a dude into punching himself in the face.
What makes a Chinese pizza?
What?
Taekwondo.
God damn it. Oh, I should have fucking seen that one coming.
I'll be here all night.
Oh, this is why I'm never gonna get. I heard a thing that was like the YouTube algorithm doesn't like it if you swear within the first 10 minutes, and I'm like, dude, we don't make it through the freaking intro without saying fuck. So it's like. It's like the algorithm's never going to recommend us.
It's fine. I do this for you. I have a certain set of skills that I have passed on to you, and now I need to be present to carry on those skills. Otherwise, you're just going to be like, I'm one man, one mic.
Apparently, we're already confirmed for a 4th season, and they'll begin filming that this summer.
I wonder if it's not already completed.
Probably. So yeah, speaking of like misdirection and whatnot, this first episode of this season was wild because it starts off with, a scene, and then we kind of jump back. And it, kind of explains what happened, but it looks very much like, Reacher fucked up. Like he's like,
I mean, that's what I thought, from the get-go was like, here you are just going to the record store, trying to get a little bit of cash, and then
he ends up like stopping this kidnapping attempt, but in this kind of gunfight with the kidnappers, he shoots a cop. So it's like, oh damn, he's fucked up. He accidentally
went too vigilante.
A little bit too went a little too hard but then like, of course it jumps back to him chilling at his hotel when like the DEA shows up and it's like, hey, we want you to help us find a guy. So we're gonna like get you into his organization by saving his son, and it turns out it was all fake.
It looked real. I mean, the action sequences and everything alone are just phenomenal in this.
Oh yeah, and they finally we talked about it in the opening, because we'll be all over on the map on this shit. But yeah, when he meets whatever Beck, who is like, the guy who's supposedly running this drug smuggling operation, but his...
Well, you assume it's drugs.
Yeah, which we find out later on. But
it's really rugs.
Like one of his...
Rugs for drugs.
Rugs for drugs. Drug rugs. But yeah, his enforcer guy, which turns out to not be actually working for him, fucking Paulie. It's like they finally found, in all these shows, like Reacher's always this like monster of a man, and they finally found someone to make him look small.
Yeah.
Like he's not, it's not like, Hollywood shit where it's like they,
no, this dude's legit 7'2".
But I mean, Alan Richardson, he's like legit like 6'5" or something like that. So it's not like, and where they try to like fucking 5-something Sylvester Stallone, they just like film him from like angles to make him look taller than he is. But like he's a legit big dude. So they got this fucking bodybuilder who's like 7-something, Oliver Richters, to play Paulie. Yeah, he's a Dutch. No, he's a bodybuilder and actor known as the Dutch Giant.
I'm just really upset that somewhere in their introductions there wasn't, Polly want a cracker.
Oh.
Like, as much as, fucking Reacher is trying to get in this dude's head and everything else, like, and I gotta give him props too, because, he tries to size him up and realize that I'm not going to beat this guy physically.
Yeah, it's like I gotta think on this one. Because first he like tricks him in the gym to like punching himself in the face, and they're like, dude, he's gonna kill you. And when they finally, the first time they kind of get into like a confrontation, and he like punches the dude, and the dude just like stands there. And it's like that's like the first time you see him like going, oh fuck. I mean, and he just like open hand slaps. He don't even punch Reacher back. He just like open hand slaps him and like knocks him the fuck off his feet. It's like, oh shit, this is a fucking monster.
Yeah, that shit was just wild to me.
So yeah, the whole point is you've got Agent Susan Duffy, played by Sonia Cassidy, who basically had an informant in his organization that went missing, and pretty much all the evidence they got on him got tossed out because the warrant was bad. They were in the, filming from the wrong location, so now their case has gone to shit. But she's like,
you weren't on public land like you thought you were.
Yeah. So now her and like her partner and kind of a rookie agent that are like, well, we got to get this guy, or at the very least, we got to find out what happened to this girl. If we're responsible for her death, or if she's still alive, we need to find that out. And she's willing to go a little bit. I like those two together because like she is like such a hard ass that like she doesn't take any of Reacher's shit. She's like just talks shit to him like she's like just like he's kind of met his match in Duffy, where she's just like
and more ways than one.
Yeah. And she's kind of hot, but I don't know if I could take that Boston, Maine, whatever it is, accent she had. I could not take that, talking dirty to me for an extended period of time.
You say that now. It's because your wife's listening.
It's like that Midwest accent, like, oh yeah, do me, don't you know? It's like, no, it's like I don't. As a Southern man, I don't think I could I could deal with that accent.
All right, calm down, KFC.
KFC. With my 11 herbs and spices. Fucking foghorn leghorn.
We're doing so great this episode.
I mean, that's one thing with Reacher. You do get a good collection of accents. I mean, he was in Georgia in the first season, and they were in like Chicago in the second season, and now that we're in Maine. So you get a good sprinkling of. So I don't know where he's going to be next time around.
I would take a trip to Maine to experience, Maine lobster.
Get you a job on a lobster boat.
Talk about never being able to record. Be like, I don't know, Joe. Lobster's got my tongue.
But yeah, so we also find that how he kind of gets wrapped up in all this is he just chilling waiting on a bus and talks some kid out of. He just says, he's like, don't do it. What? He's like, you've let 2 buses go by. You're looking at that lady's purse. Like, you're here to rob somebody. Let me just, change your mind now so I don't have to fuck you up. You should maybe go get a different bus. But then he sees a guy that he thinks is dead. Francis Xavier Quinn, or Julius McCabe, depending on... I can't remember which was his real name and which was his his new identity. But yeah, we get a good flashback to Reacher before he got his team, when he was like working solo, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna give you somebody to help you out," and he gets kind of his first partner, who they're in the course of an investigation comes across this dude who's like basically like he's a smuggler of sorts, but he's also kind of a serial killer. And of course he Reacher's like, well, you've done a lot of the legwork on this case. You take the rookie and y'all go make the arrest. And and then she never comes back, and he goes to track him down and finds that he has murdered the young lady, the sergeant, and so he's like, yeah, we're not gonna arrest you. I'm gonna go fucking shoot you in the back of the head and drop you in the river, which unfortunately I guess he lack of evidence, you tried to kill him with his own pistol, which was a fucking 22, and I guess a 22 to the back of the head was not not lethal enough.
Penetrate, just got lodged in the skull.
So he survived and apparently has amnesia and is existing under a brand new identity and back up to his old tricks of smuggling something. So she's like, yeah, you help us like bring down Beck and his organization, and we'll help you take down this Quinn guy. Which, as we go, we find out that Beck is not the mafioso boss that he was portrayed to be. He's just another cog in the machine, and it's Quinn who's actually running everything and using his... Basically, he was already smuggling something in it, like you said, rugs for drugs, and he just basically took over his infrastructure of smuggling to start smuggling guns for the Russian mafia to sell to, like, apparently drug lords in L.A. But he's the one who kidnapped Beck's son and cut his ear off to, like, make him join his give up his organization, and then all the henchmen you think working for Beck are actually Quinn's henchmen that are just making sure Beck doesn't get out of line. Yeah, so I mean, we got some like big stars this season too. I mean, we got,
yeah, for sure.
Anthony Michael Hall playing Zachary Beck.
I just feel like this is going to be one of those series where we're going to get, bigger and bigger cast.
Yeah, it's like as it goes on, it gets like more and more famous. And and Alan's doing a bunch of movies and shit now, so surprised he hasn't had the fucking Witcher or somebody. He's like, hey guys, I did your movie. Why don't y'all come do my show?
But I mean, he is the perfect cast for Reacher, though.
Yeah, I mean, he is like just a fucking giant dude.
And a very diversified character too. Like, Reacher's not just the action, sort of hero where it's like, okay, you don't have a lot of lines. Like, no, the intelligence aspect and everything else, like, that's a tough role to pull off.
It's what kind of why I like that character so much is that, traditionally, like, if you were like a big action dude, like, you not always the most intelligent person, but he has a way of like outthinking everybody and figuring out like these things that other people just don't see, and you'd be like, all right, well, and some of the things where he'll like mention something to Duffy, and she's like, how did you get there? And he's like, oh well, it's obvious, it's like this and this, and like it's very Sherlock Holmes, where it's like he'll be like, yeah, this is gonna and people are like, and then when he goes back and like explains like what he sees, you're like, oh yeah, I totally didn't pick up on that. But yeah, it's like to him, all this shit's obvious, and he's like, why are the rest of y'all not noticing the things I notice?
Yeah, for sure.
He's like, not only is the biggest motherfucker in the room, he's also the smartest motherfucker in the room, which is it's a combination you don't see in a lot of characters.
But it works, and I'm glad that it works because, like I said, this was a badass season.
Oh yeah, and his first partner that got killed was Sergeant Dominique Cole, played by Maria Robinson. And we also get like pretty much the only like reoccurring character that like we get is, you know, fucking Neely always has to show up, and she was in this season several of them. I mean, she
Yeah, I think they did a good job actually expanding upon her character and stuff because she always kind of took, you know, a little bit of a back burner, but this one, like you actually saw like the inner workings kind of that team more so than it just being, you know, Reacher doing his own thing.
Yeah, like in the first one, she's basically like, you know, just kind of shows up as like someone to provide some like information because she's one of his old investigator teams. Now she's like apparently a high-powered private detective in Chicago. But and then, you know, in the last season she was part of the team, but we really got to like see her on her own, like, you know, get like when they, you know, Quinn decides like, well, we're gonna kind of, something's going down, I'm not sure what, but let's like clean up. We found, you know, I've got a source somewhere, and he found like these two investigators like pulled my prints, or you know ran my name, so I don't know what they know, but they need to go away, and they send somebody to kill the military investigator that Reacher originally called for to run intel, and then they sent two assassins to try to kill Neely. And she's just gangster as fuck, man. She goes to like shoot out in her office and like caps the one dude, and then walks in and is like you're in, move, like you're blocking my path to the fridge. I gotta get milk for my fucking cereal. And she's just there just like eating her snack. And she's like, call me an ambulance. He's like, you're an ambulance. And just like fucking no sympathy for this dude whatsoever. She's like, yeah, tell me everything you know, and then you know, maybe I'll call an ambulance, but not till I finish my bowl of Cheerios or whatever the fuck she was eating.
That's a serial killer.
And then she goes the fucking mob guy that hired the dudes and was like, all right, yeah, who told you to do this? Or, you know, I'll fuck you up right here on your lawn. Otherwise, you know, you tell me what I want to know, and we never see each other again. And he's like, all right, yeah, that sounds like a good
yeah, good choice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me take that option.
Oh, and when, you know, Reacher's having to kind of balance being undercover, and they send him off to like, you know, go check my son's car or whatever, and he finally, like, the dude that he's been like having to like follow around and finally gets kind of a little bit wise to what's going on, and he just like grabs him and like slams his head on the fucking note spike on the desk, just like, all right, that was pretty quick.
Yeah.
Don't have to worry about that guy anymore.
Oh, Angel Doll.
Yeah. Old Angel Doll didn't last too long.
And then like after he's like, oh crap, people are showing up, and he's just breaking limbs to try to stuff them under the desk. I'm just like, even in death, that still hurts. Like,
yeah. Oh, and then whatever the other guy who's like basically running all the intel for Beck it's like we think the girl we're looking for is on his boat, so they sneak out there, and it's like, all right, Duffy, you want to fuck him up? Like, go ahead. We'll just burn his nail him to the deck and set his boat on fire. I'm like, that's pretty gangster.
I mean, seems like a form of piracy.
Something I like about WO in the other seasons, like actual law enforcement people that he's had to deal with, has always been like, dude, you can't just go around like murking all these dudes. And she's kind of like, all right, yeah, I'm you know, you probably shouldn't be killing all these people, but yeah, fuck them, they kind of deserve it.
Like, I just love how it's always like, yeah, I'm gonna need to clean this mess up.
By the way, I left another body in this up. Like,
Oh,
God damn
and
it.
I may or may not have blown up a DEA safe house.
Yeah.
Good luck explaining that, I guess.
Oh.
But I mean, I liked her team too, though.
Yeah. The only sad part was that when, so the original bodyguard that he replaced, they're like, well, we can't really arrest him because this case is kind of off the books. We're just gonna hold up in this cabin and hold on to this guy. And the fucking poor rookie that they left to watch him finally fucks up and like decides to give the guy one cigarette, and he then like blows fucking whatever.
Yeah, he, like chugs a mouthful of alcohol.
Yeah,
and
that's
then,
what it
you know,
was. And just spit. Yeah, I was like, how the hell do you get like lighter fluid? And so, but yeah, it just like ends up.
Well, it's because he coaxed him first into rendering first aid. Hey, man, I don't want this to get infected. So then you leave that sitting there.
Yep, takes a swig of old rubbing alcohol and then spits it in the dude's face as he's trying to light his cigarette, and ends up beating him to death. It's like, oh,
Just fucking head stomps him.
yeah, that was fucking brutal. I was like, that's one thing about this season, not just this series too. It's like it doesn't shy away from the violence. I mean, they get some like just bloody shit, and they're like, it's one thing I like about Amazon as far as like a production company, that you get movie quality like violence that sometimes in like TV series they're like, we either don't have the budget for that, or we're not gonna
Well,
go
you're worried about the censorship aspect.
Yeah, we're not getting a hard R on a week to week TV show, but Amazon's like, nah, if it's good for the story, go for it. Squish a dude's head, yeah, or like have some guy balls shoved in his mouth like they did in season 1. That was like, ooh, I wasn't expecting that.
But I don't know, I mean, going back to the books, like, I hear they were, far more gruesome than what the series was for this. So
Yeah, it's like, I mean, there's some stuff you can do in a book that's a lot easier to do in a book than it is on, because that was one thing with like the Jack Carr series. I was like, as the books have gone on, it's like every book Jack's like, I'm gonna put a torture scene and I gotta make it worse than the torture scene I put in the last book. So I'm like always wondering like, how much of that's gonna make it to screen. I'm waiting for it's book 3 with the peppers and the catheter. See if that makes it to makes it to the screen or not.
oh,
I mean, this next season,
I had forgot about that. And I remember us talking about that for days.
well, this next season's off of book 2, and book 2 has the piano wire out in the dude's junk that's standing on the chair. We'll see if that makes it to TV or not, because that one was pretty brutal too.
Ugh. I'd forgotten. Now I'm remembered.
Oh, shit gets dark.
But I don't know. I thought this one was kind of neat too. Like, just the never-ending battle between Reacher and Polly. Like, you always think, oh, Polly's dead. No, Polly's not dead. He always comes back. Like, he is the epitome of a cat. He's got 9 lives.
Yeah,
literally.
We're jumping ahead, but since you brought it up, let's talk about it. Yeah, there's all this buildup of tension between him and Polly, and finally it comes to a head where they've realized the deal is going down during Homeboy's birthday party. Because before that, they finally, Reacher's cover's blown, and he, finally gets needed contact back and be like, hey, if you want to make it out of this alive, you got to come work for us. And so he's like, yeah, the big deal is going down at this junkyard, and it turns out to be an ambush. Yeah, Quinn's like wants to like get rid of Beck and kind of tie up all the loose ends, and of course, at that point, Reacher's like, got my sniper rifle. I'm just gonna fucking kill Quinn as soon as he shows up, and then it turns out it's an ambush, and so they, fucking all the FBI or
DEA.
I don't know, it was ATF, I think it was. Yeah, all those guys get killed, and it's just back to Reacher and his team. They're like, well, we don't have time to call for backup. We know the deal's going down at the house, so we've got to get in there and rescue the kid and Beck. And of course, they sneak in, but Paulie catches them, and he's like, all right, y'all go in and do the rescue. I'll take care of the big man here. And out of that hour-long episode, that fucking fight scene is probably 30 minutes long.
Yes.
It just goes on forever. Like you said before the show, it's like Peter Griffin versus the chicken.
Yeah.
It just went on forever. Like every time you think like Reacher gets knocked out, and then he gets back up, and they get back into the fight. Then they end up into the fucking ocean, and you think all right, he finally drowned Paulie, and there's Reacher coming like limping back up to the gate, and you see like Paulie come out of the woods like wet and limping. You're like, God, that dude's still fucking alive. It just goes on forever. I mean, that fight when it starts off in the garage, I mean, he's like throwing him through support beams and shit's like collapsing on him and stuff. It's like the longest fucking beatdown. And then they end up in the guard shack, which there's an old thing in movies, like if you show an item and the camera sits on it just a little bit too long, that item's going to come back into play at some point.
And it definitely did.
Yeah, and the guard shack, there's like a Russian Dishka machine. It's like their version of a Ma Deuce, hanging there on a chain at the gate for if anybody tries to raid the property. And they end up getting in a fight over that thing where it's just like, I mean, yeah, so much for the element of surprise. That fucking Dishka's just going off in the office and shit, and somehow he manages to like take a bullet and stick it in backward to like jam up the gun, so it like finally blows up in the dude's face. But it's like, yeah, you had to basically explode a 50 cal in his face to finally take him down. And it's like, I'm like, is he really dead this time? Or is he gonna show up one more time?
Did we see a body?
And of course, he blows up the truck full of, does away with the guns and everything. Oh, when like the henchmen are like hunting him down, he's like in the warehouse with we got boxes full of shotguns and everything. Fucking dude just walks through the door and just gets blown the fuck back out. It's like, surprise, motherfuckers.
I mean, but that's what a shotgun's for.
It's like that old, was it Goody Mob song? Who's that looking in my window? Blow. Nobody now.
You're so gangster.
But to back it up, I love like the old cop that's like getting ready to retire, and like I kept waiting for that dude to get killed because like anytime you're like,
that's usually
I'm about to retire.
But I mean, now that you brought it up, though, that was another thing that I liked. Like most of the time, it's I'm close to retirement. Oh, I never lived to see my retirement. But no, he actually gets to retire.
He got fucked up, but he got to go home, and it's like, I ain't gotta do this shit no more. My wife's still here. She hadn't left me, even though I come in looking like hell. But yeah, when the bodyguard kills the other cop and escapes, they're Reacher's like, if he gets here, he's gonna blow my cover. Tell him to bring his car and meet me at this one turn. And he like Reacher just like fucking flips the car over, and he's like, all right, just get in the car and pretend you're dead. Yeah, he'll definitely stop when he comes around the corner and sees the car blocking the street. He's like, what if he doesn't? He's like, well then, it's not gonna matter very long. He's like, fuck you, man. He's like, you're so fat. How are you still alive? How did you get like just like, those two like just fucking with each other? It's just
could you imagine Reacher's like, hey, you're gonna help me flip this car over, and by help I mean pretty much I'm gonna do it all.
Yeah, just stay out of my way. Oh. Hey, at least he flipped the car back over for him. He's like, yeah, good luck writing this shit up whenever this case is over. What happened to your car? A giant man just rolled it.
And when I say giant, I mean literally.
Oh,
God, could you imagine the amount of paperwork?
there's so many fucking bodies stacked.
And so many that you can't, say were stacked either.
Yeah, it's like there's just random dudes in a
Like,
a Connex
I
box.
love how, the ocean is their body toilet.
Yeah, it's like we drop everybody in this hole and the ocean takes care of it. We don't know where they go from here. It's the sea flush.
Yeah.
Oh, but yeah, when they and I liked Reacher, who's kind of the hard ass, him kind of taking the kid under his wing and trying to
Well, I mean, that's it. He took him out for ice cream, and he's like, dude, you got to try real ice cream. That flavor sucks, and you know it sucks.
Yeah. And he's like, they go to the toy store, so he's gonna buy like a little cap gun that his dad, who has a pretty sweet gun collection, is like, this was his first, gun when he was a kid, which is a little old school fucking cap gun. But then like the local bullies start fucking with him, and then Reacher's like teaching him how to box and stuff, and like really trying to help the kid out, and he's like, I'm trying to like put your father in prison, but you're just kind of
Caught in the middle
of all this shit. I'm gonna help. Oh, and when after they find out Reacher's cover's blown, and Psycho Quinn in there is like, I want another ear, and makes Beck cut his own ear off instead of, but fucking having to play Russian roulette with his son and shit. I was like, God damn, man, that dude's just fucking evil. I mean, a lot of time your bad guys have some redeeming. Quinn has like no redeeming qualities. Yeah. Beck's in over his head. You're like, all right, he's done some bad shit, but he's just trying to protect his family. But yeah, that Quinn dude's just like straight up fucking evil.
And then what about Reacher and his Russian roulette to get in with the circle, like scratches it's like, like you don't realize that's what he's doing at first until after the scene, and then it's like, it's like if it was going to land on that bullet, like you just start shooting motherfuckers. And
yeah, so he's like, when they're faking him killing the cop, he's like, yeah, I got like a couple rounds of real bullets and then a couple like blanks. And he said, well, how do you know which one? He's like, well, I'm going to just cut in the cylinder. That way, when it's time to shoot you, I can look and make sure I'm on the blank. And that's the gun they make him, use for to play Russian roulette, to like show he's in the gang. And he's like, they're like, all right, you survived. And he's like, just pulls it a couple more bonus times. He's like, all right, dude, we believe you. You're a hard ass. And he's like, nah, mark the cylinder. and even when he's like, yeah, y'all, there was no bullets. It was a fake bullet. And he's like, oh, really? But he shoots it, and he's like, oh, shit. And then he's like, nah, I knew which one had the live fucking chamber.
Methodical motherfucker.
Motherfuckers be playing checkers, and he's playing chess. Oh, then the house raid, when Beck finally mans up to Quinn and pulls the toy gun on him to like save his son, and then of course the fucking glue didn't hold. He had him convinced until like the barrel fell off his gun, and he's like get stitched up with the Uzi.
Now it's a snub nose.
And fucking old man when he goes in to save the kid, ends up getting in a fight with that henchman, and like fucking fighting in the bathroom, trying to drown him in the toilet, and bashed him with the toilet lid. And I was like, that was a pretty, all right, old out of shape dude. Like he manned up, because that was a pretty brutal ass fight with that guy in the bathroom.
I mean, that made me think. I was like, somebody breaks into the house. Like, I know what my natural instinct's gonna be, but it's gonna be a much cooler story if I take a motherfucker out with a toilet lid. They're not gonna see that.
That's why you need a pirate gun.
Nobody's gonna see anything. It's just gonna be a big cloud of smoke. Did I hit him? Did something project?
Yeah.
Like,
that's like the other weekend when I shot Ryan's pirate gun. It's like, yeah, just a big, I heard the ding, so I know the ball hit the target, but yeah, I couldn't see the target ever pull the trigger. It's just a big cloud of smoke.
It's like, if I can't see you, you can't see me.
Yeah. But like, how badass to be like, man shoots home intruder with a blunderbuss.
Well, you blundered and you bust.
Oh, and of course, we find out that the informant is alive because luckily she was a ginger, and the people they're trying to make the deal with to sell guns to apparently is a terrorist organization, and like, dude's got a thing for redheads, so he's like, hey, here's a signing bonus. Why don't you go up and bang this chick we got doped out for you upstairs. But then Duffy rolls in and like shoots the dude in the dick, and is like,
Hey, you remember that one time Duffy shot the dude in the dick? Oh wait, that was RoboCop.
She's like, she goes in there and he's like, hey, if you shoot me, my bodyguard's gonna hear it, and he'll come in here, and you may or may not. And finally, she's like, fuck it, shoots the dude in the dick, and then like lets him feel that for a minute before she shoots him in the face and takes out his bodyguard. Oh. But yeah, then of course all hell breaks loose. They manage to subdue Quinn, and the Russian mafia guys show up, and they're like, hey, that guy's mine. They're like, no, he's fucked us over. We're going to take care of him. He's like, let's work you a deal. You keep all the money that he was going to, we've already got, the terrorists are dead. We don't want them getting the guns. So the guns are gone. The terrorists dead. You keep the money. I keep this asshole. And they're like, all right, yeah, we can, we can go with that bargain. And then, the cops, Duffy and her partners find like, all right, we got plenty of things to wrap up inside. You go do what you got to do. And fucking Reacher's got this shit. He's like, you really don't know. He's like, why the fuck are you doing this? Who are you? He's like, oh, so amnesia wasn't fake. You really don't remember this. And he's like, what? He's like, her name was Dominique. And then he fucking just canoes his head with the 12 gauge. We're going to make sure he's dead this time. There's no more small caliber to the back of the head, throw you in the ocean. No, I'm gonna make sure the head's completely gone this time.
Like spaghetti.
And then of course all the cops finally show up and be like, yeah, we brought Reacher and Neely in as consultants because we were investigating a guy that was part of one of their old cases, and I shot Quinn when he pulled a shotgun on us. Like, they had nothing to do with all these bodies that got stacked. Y'all can go about your business. And then of course she's like, I'm not one for being tied down. Like, I know we hooked up and all, and that was fun, but yeah, you can go about your business. I go about mine. And he's like, damn, I didn't get to use my line this time.
Yeah, she completely reversed the line on him.
She booty called me. I don't know how I feel about this. And I like Neely's like, I think I finally figured you out. She's like, what? It's not that you like love the little guy. You just hate the big guy and hate when they win. And he's like, you're just now figuring that out? Like, I thought you knew me, Neely. It's not about saving the little guy. It's about fucking over the big guy that's being an asshole. Like, duh, that's what we've been doing since the beginning of this. You're just now figuring that out?
Little guy's got to learn to stand up for himself.
Yeah. Oh. So what do you... I like the tiny... Oh, and then the fucking... The French... whatever, maid or whatever that just turned out she's also like was undercover with the ATF, but they think there's someone in the organization. They start searching the house, and before they find the stuff Reacher has stashed, they found out she was also undercover, and she gets killed while Reacher's away. But like when that's the first time him and Polly square up on each other, and he gets bitch slap down. But before that, when they bring in all the extra thugs, and you know, he's like, yeah, I'd like some dessert. And Rachel's like, yeah, they're talking to her in French. She's like, what'd she say? Oh, she said, like, your mother was a dirty whore or some shit like that. And the dude, like, gets up, and Reacher just, like, fucking knocks him the fuck out and looks at the other guy. He's like, do you want some dessert? No, I'm good with the coffee.
She brings him the pie.
I like the old chef, too. She's like, he walks in, he's like, is there coffee? No, what you meant to say is, like, can I have some? He's like, are you coming in my kitchen without wiping your feet? Yeah, sorry, ma'am.
I can remember those days quite vividly. I might have PTSD myself.
Yeah, she had a very angry grandma way about her.
I mean, there's rules to the kitchen.
He's like, unless you want me shitting in your oh yeah, the whole cat shit coffee thing. He's like, oh yeah, that's here, you got any more of that cat shit coffee? He's like, yep, this tastes like cat shit. Oh yeah, when he escapes, and he has to flee through like the fucking swamp or whatever, and finally ends up in that town and sees like the one like all night. Because of course Reacher only has like one pair of clothes. Sees the all night laundry. He's like covered in mud and like just walks in there. And he's like, here's a stack of cash. Y'all go ahead and close early. And they're like, all right, whatever. Like turn the light out so no one. And he's like standing there in his drawers while they're doing his laundry. And like the old mama san brings him some coffee. And he's like, this is the best coffee I've ever had. And he's like, last coffee I had came from cat shit. And they're all just like, what the fuck?
Oh. So have you ever had coffee dripped over cat shit?
No, I've never. I've heard of. I can't remember what it's actually called, but yeah, it's like some kind of, not really a cat, but some kind of feline monkey type thing eats the beans and poops out the beans, and so it's like shit's like $100 for a pound or something. It's like
it's almost like
expensive ass coffee. It's like buying drugs,
ambrosia or some shit. Like I'm every time I go to the beach, I'm looking for whale vomit too.
Yeah, it's like what. It's like a really expensive cigar. Like, I don't want to spend $100 on a cigar, but if somebody gives me $100 cigar, I'll try it. But I sure as fucking going to buy $100 bag of coffee. But if somebody offers me a cup, I'll try it just to say I tried it.
You're going to get that, I don't know if it can impact you as a man, though. Where you're around cat fecal matter, and it turns you into the crazy cat lady.
Fucking I married the crazy cat lady.
You were already infected and you didn't even know it.
Yeah. I got too many fucking cats. She's like, you don't like cats? I'm like, I like cats fine. I don't like 7 cats. But I'm down with 3 cats.
They might make you some really excellent coffee. Might be a market for that.
I got to get some beans and just like let the cats eat the beans and see what happens. So any further highlights of Reacher?
I mean, I think we kind of covered them all. I mean, I think one of the things that really stood out for me this season was, all of your supporting characters got a lot more front and center. Like,
yeah, Duffy was like a legit character, and all her team. They weren't just like
filler or fodder or anything. All the way down to the rookie. Like, oh man, like, why you gotta have a heart?
I'm trying to see if there's a.
So if you had a DEA's badge, and you were on an undercover mission, where would you hide it? Because I feel like the pillowcase would be a pretty obvious spot.
I figure that'd be like the first place they looked when they I'm surprised he didn't put that shit in his prison wallet. I mean, that's the only safe place to hide something in in enemy territory like that. Or you stick it in Polly's bedroom, like, this is the fucking
I found your mole. Yeah. I mean, but you really don't want to do that though, because who's going to take them on?
Yeah, it's like I was like surprised he didn't keister stash that thing. I mean,
Rigid. Ow.
if we learn nothing from Pulp Fiction, that's the only place a man can keep something safe is in his own ass.
Deadpool would concur.
Yeah. Well, so far there's no official confirmation on which book season 4 is going to be based on. They have said there's interest in adapting the Midnight Line and also possibly Die Trying as a potential next season. So no news yet on which book they're turning into season 4 yet. So we shall see.
But we do know there will be a season 4. That is confirmed.
Yep. I mean, with 29 source materials, this shit can go fucking get like elderly Reacher at some point because shit goes on forever. I recently, because it was on at the shop, rewatched the Tom Cruise Jack Reacher movies, and it's like I can't take him seriously after watching the Reacher series. I'm like, dude is just too small to be intimidating.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise would not scare me. Maybe if he was in a fucking F-18 or whatever, I'm like, all right, yeah. But yeah, he's definitely doesn't have the. He's not as physically intimidating as the character of Reacher is supposed to be.
Yeah, I just. I don't know. This is Reacher to me all the way around. Like, that's Reach around.
And how do you find anyone bigger than Paulie to fight him next season? They're going to have to get two giants.
No, they're going to do the complete opposite.
It's going to be like...
somebody very, very small.
It's going to be like John Cena fighting that little Asian dude in Peacemaker. They're going to get like a little Jet Li motherfucker that is just like, you know, fast as shit and like kicks the hell out of him.
Well, I mean, I'm wondering too, as things progress, you know, I'm assuming that, you know, technology is also going to progress with each season. So, you know, at some point, like, where do you get like the sinister hacker who's, you know, like, aha, I've hacked everybody's cars.
Yeah, go full Fast and the Furious.
You know,
He's got to fight a rogue AI.
I'll say they've taken it too far when cars start, you know, jumping across building rooftops.
Yeah.
Or the cars go to space.
Well, final thoughts on this here cigar. It's kind of developed like a woody, like a little toasty, with like a pepperness to that initial, you know, sweet apple cocoa sweetness. It's definitely taken on some like peppery, little toasty. It's not a bad stick, and if you can find them, the boxes look cool too. It's like it comes in a nice cool display box where it's like instead of like the cigars sitting flat, they're sitting up, and like when you open the box, there's this like map of Cuba and shit. It's like if you're someone who collects cigar boxes, this one is it comes in a cool box if you want to get a full box of these. That's all we got for you this week. We'll be right back with some science. And you've been watching the Cigar Nerds podcast. Check us out on cigarnerdpodcast.com and on the ESO Network, esonetwork.com. And don't forget, smoke them if you got them. Like, comment, and subscribe.